Over 1.3 million Rolex watches have been returned. Crazy, right? But you know what is crazier? These Rolex watches are fake. And this is the craziest part. Over $100 million in counterfeit Rolexes seized in just 5 years. Thousands of fake watches intercepted before reaching American streets. Organized crime rings spanning continents. And a multi-billion-dollar underground industry that produces more fake Rolexes than Rolex produces real ones. This isn't about cheap knockoffs sold on street corners. We're talking about sophisticated counterfeiting operations shipping hundreds of watches at a time, evading customs, fooling buyers, and flooding the market with fakes so convincing that even experts struggle to spot them immediately. Some of these busts exposed single shipments worth $22 million. Others revealed international networks operating like corporations, complete with factories, distribution channels, and sales teams. The numbers are staggering. Estimates 30 to 50 million fake watches enter the market annually. Rolex produces roughly 1 million watches per year. Do the math. Statistically, when you see someone wearing a Rolex, there's a better chance it's counterfeit than genuine. So, where am I going with this? Today, we're counting down the 9 biggest fake Rolex busts ever documented. I am talking about massive seizures by the US Customs, international busts that dismantled criminal empires, and the shadowy world where fake Rolexes aren't just products, they're profit engines for organized crime. By the end, you'll understand why counterfeiting isn't a victimless crime, and why the fake watch on someone's wrist might have connections to something far darker, and how you can spot a fake from a mic away. Let's start the countdown, beginning with number 9. Number 9, Cincinnati. In 2019, Cincinnati, Ohio, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers were processing routine shipments when something felt off. A package from Hong Kong routed through Saudi Arabia, heading to New York City. The declaration? Plastic goods. Value? $402. It was odd. The weight didn't match. Neither did the shipping pattern. Officers opened the package. Inside, wrapped carefully and packaged to avoid detection, 85 counterfeit Rolex watches. These weren't cheap imitations. These were mid-tier fakes designed to pass casual inspection. Submariner models, GMT Masters, Daytonas. If the custom officers hadn't caught the shipment, those watches would have been sold for a combined retail value of $5.8 million. But they weren't genuine. They were manufactured overseas, shipped through convoluted routes to disguise their origin, and destined for unsuspecting buyers in New York. The 2019 bust was part of a broader pattern CBP had been tracking for years. Hong Kong had become a major transit point for counterfeit goods, especially luxury watches. Counterfeiters were getting smarter, using false declarations, routing shipments through multiple countries, and targeting smaller parcels to avoid scrutiny. The Cincinnati seizure represented 15% of all intellectual property rights violations involving watches and jewelry that fiscal year. CBP's enforcement efforts were ramping up, but the volume of fakes flooding into the country remained overwhelming. These fake watchmakers are relentless, which made this bust significant. This bust wasn't just about stopping 85 watches, it was about exposing a supply chain. Every seizure provides intelligence, shipping routes, packaging methods, common declarations used to evade detection. Each bust helps customs officials refine their screening processes. But for every shipment intercepted, how many slipped through? CBP estimates they catch only a fraction of counterfeit goods entering the US. The real number of fake Rolexes reaching American buyers remains unknown and terrifying. You probably have a fake Rolex in your hand right now, but relax, I'll teach how you'll know. Cincinnati's bust exposed sophisticated smuggling tactics. But that was just one city, one seizure. The next incident on our list? It wasn't a single package. It was an avalanche. Hundreds of watches destined for one location, all caught in a matter of days. Number 8. The Brooklyn Pipeline. In May 2022, and in Cincinnati again, customs officers made a huge bust, but here's what makes this one different. They weren't dealing with a single package, they were staring at a pipeline. Within 48 hours, CBP intercepted 2 separate shipments from Hong Kong. Both were heading to the same destination. Brooklyn, New York. The first shipment contained 300 counterfeit Rolex watches. The second, arriving just 2 days later, held 160 more. So that's a total haul of 460 fake Rolexes. Combined retail value, if genuine, was $10.1 million. Yikes. This wasn't random. The targeting of Brooklyn was deliberate. Someone in New York had established a receiving operation, likely planning to distribute the watches through gray market dealers, online platforms, or direct sales to buyers looking for deals. CBP's vendor intelligence flagged the shipments. Over the previous 2 years, intellectual property rights violations had surged 152% compared to 2020. The pandemic had accelerated online shopping, and counterfeiters capitalized on the shift. E-commerce platforms became hunting grounds for fake luxury goods. Buyers scrolling through listings couldn't physically inspect watches before purchasing. Photos could be doctored, descriptions could lie, and once the transaction is completed, good luck getting your money back. The Brooklyn pipeline seizure revealed something chilling. The fake watch trade wasn't disorganized criminals selling a few pieces here and there. It was industrial, coordinated, operating at scale, and the counterfeiters weren't giving up. Even after losing 460 watches, they'd simply reroute, change addresses, and shipping methods. The game of cat and mouse continued. Brooklyn was drowning in fakes, but at least customs caught them before they hit the streets. The next case on our list, the watches didn't just slip through. They triggered a raid that exposed a $16 million criminal empire operating in plain sight. Number 7, the Atlanta Ring. In 2016, Memphis, Tennessee, CBP officers intercepted around 60 counterfeit Rolexes in shipments heading to Mexico. Submariners, yachtmasters, high-end fakes. But instead of just seizing the watches and closing the case, customs took an extra step. They investigated, and the trail led to Atlanta, Georgia. This investigation took years, and what they found was staggering. In November 2021, federal agents raided a business called Real Moda. Please don't mistake this for the clothing brand in Italy. The operation wasn't small time. This was a full-scale counterfeit trafficking ring. Inside the location, investigators seized over 9,000 counterfeit items. Fake Rolexes, counterfeit Louis Vuitton bags, knockoff designer apparel. The total value, over $16 million. Real Moda had been advertising openly on Facebook. They weren't hiding. They were marketing counterfeit goods to customers who either didn't know they were fake or didn't care. The business operated like a legitimate retailer, complete with inventory management, customer service, and shipping logistics. A couple running the operation was arrested and charged with trafficking in counterfeit goods. The case highlighted a disturbing reality. Counterfeiting has gone mainstream. It wasn't back alley deals anymore. It was a storefront, social media ads, professional-looking websites, and the customers. Many had no idea. They thought they were getting deals on luxury items. Some probably suspected the goods weren't authentic, but convinced themselves otherwise. After all, the packaging looked right. The boxes seemed legit. The watches felt heavy, but none of it was real. The Atlanta bust sent a message. Law enforcement was watching. But more importantly, it revealed how deeply counterfeit networks had penetrated American retail. For every Real Moda shut down, how many others were still operating? Atlanta's $16 million ring was shocking, but it was domestic. The next case takes us overseas to the source. Because while American customs were fighting to stop fakes at the border, one country was producing them at a scale that defied belief. Number 6, the Louisville Siege. In February 2021, Louisville, Kentucky, CBP officers inspected 3 parcels arriving from Hong Kong. The shipment manifest labeled the contents as bracelets. They weren't bracelets. Inside the parcels were 600 counterfeit Rolex watches, all brand new, all packaged for retail and heading to a single address in the United States. If these watches were genuine, their combined MSRP would have exceeded $22 million. It was the largest single seizure Louisville had recorded to that point. Just look at that for a second. 600 watches to one location. This wasn't a buyer purchasing a fake for personal use. This was a distribution hub. Someone was preparing to flood the market with counterfeits, likely selling them online through gray market dealers, or at watch shows where buyers couldn't verify authenticity before purchase. The seizure topped a record month for CBP. Watches and jewelry consistently accounted for around 50% of CBP's annual intellectual property seizures by MSRP value, averaging $650 million annually. But here's the kicker. The counterfeiters didn't learn. Despite losing $22 million worth of inventory, similar shipments kept coming. Different addresses, altered packaging, new false declarations. The pipeline was relentless. And Louisville became ground zero. The city's central location and major shipping hubs made it a prime transit point for goods entering the U.S. from Asia. CBP officers in Louisville processed millions of packages annually. Finding fakes required training, technology, and a lot of luck. Even with advanced screening, the sheer volume meant many shipments passed through undetected. For every 600 watch bust, dozens of smaller shipments likely slipped by. Louisville's $22 million seizure was massive, but it was reactive. Customs caught the shipment after it arrived. The next case is different, because this one exposed the factories where these fakes are born, and the sentences handed down sent shockwaves through the counterfeiting world. Number 5. The Guangzhou Sentence. July 2023 was symbolic. In Guangzhou, China, a Chinese court delivered sentences that stunned the counterfeiting industry. 15 counterfeiters were convicted for operating a fake Rolex production and sales operation that spanned 6 years, from 2015 to 2021. The operation wasn't small. They assembled watches in a Guangzhou factory using counterfeit components, then sold them through partnerships and distribution networks. Total sales exceeded $42 million. The sentences ranged from probation for minor participants to 6.5 years in prison for the ringleaders, plus fines. The court wasn't playing games. This case matters because it pulled back the curtain on how counterfeit Rolexes are made. The operation wasn't a couple of guys in a garage. It was a factory, organized like a legitimate business. Workers assembling watches, quality control checks, packaging, shipping logistics. Everything mirrored real manufacturing, except the products were illegal. Guangzhou, located in southern China, has become a major hub for counterfeit goods. The city's proximity to Hong Kong, its manufacturing infrastructure, and its port access make it ideal for producing and exporting fakes. Authorities have cracked down, but the sheer scale of operations makes enforcement nearly impossible. That amount in sales represents just one ring. Estimates suggest dozens, maybe hundreds, of similar operations exist across China. Some produce low-quality fakes sold for $50 online. Others make super clones, watches so accurate they fool even experienced collectors during casual inspection. The Guangzhou sentences were meant to deter future counterfeiters, but the profit margins are too tempting. A fake Rolex that costs $100 to produce can sell for $1,000 or more. Even factoring in seizures and losses, the business remains wildly profitable. China's factories pump out millions of fakes annually. But once those watches leave Asia, where do they go? The next case reveals a European gateway where fake Rolexes flow like water, and the quantities are staggering. Number 4. The Chicago Flood. In Chicago O'Hare International Airport, May 2025, CBP officers processed international cargo and flagged something unusual. Not one massive shipment, but hundreds of small parcels, all from Hong Kong and mainland China, all containing watches. Over a period of weeks, CBP intercepted 516 counterfeit luxury watches spread across 485 separate shipments. Rolex Submariners, Patek Philippe Nautilus models, Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks, Cartier. The variety was stunning. The coordination required to ship that many parcels while trying to stay under the radar demonstrated serious organization. One single shipment on May 4th contained 243 fake watches alone, $6.64 million if they were able to sell. The total value for all 516 watches is over $9 million. But here's what made this case different. The counterfeiters were using a new tactic: micro shipments. Instead of sending 600 watches in 3 parcels like the Louisville case, they fragmented shipments into hundreds of small packages. The goal? Reduce risk. If one parcel gets seized, the others might slip through. It almost worked. CBP's trade experts analyzed shipping patterns, sender information, and recipient data. They identified common characteristics, linking the parcels, and flagged them for inspection. The strategy exposed the operation, but it also revealed how adaptive counterfeiters had become. Chicago wasn't alone. Similar busts occurred at other ports. In April 2025, there were around 9.22 million in counterfeit watch seizures. The wave of fakes hitting American ports had reached crisis levels, and most came from 2 places: Hong Kong and mainland China. CBP reported that 90% of counterfeit watch seizures in fiscal year 2024 originated from these regions. Chicago's flood exposed micro-shipment tactics, but that's still intercepted at the border. The next case takes us deeper, because while customs fight the symptom, there's a city where fake Rolexes aren't hidden. They're sold openly, in bazaars, like groceries, and it's been happening for decades. Number 3, Istanbul's Grand Bazaar. In Istanbul, Turkey, in the Grand Bazaar, a covered market dating back to the 15th century, something dangerous is happening. The Grand Bazaar spans 64 streets and 4,000 shops. Millions of tourists visit annually, hunting for carpets, spices, jewelry, and souvenirs. There's one more thing they might not have bargained for: fake Rolexes everywhere. Or maybe tourists bargain for those fake Rolexes because walk through the bazaar and you'll see them displayed openly. Shop owners don't hide the fact they're selling counterfeits. In fact, they advertise it. High-quality replicas. Swiss movements assembled in Turkey. Better than Chinese fakes. Prices range from $70 for crude imitations to $450 for more convincing copies. Turkey has the second largest counterfeit market in the world, estimated at $3 billion as of 2010. The country's lax copyright and trademark enforcement, combined with its strategic location between Europe and Asia, make it a perfect hub for counterfeit goods. The Grand Bazaar experience is surreal. Sellers offer tea and coffee. They provide chairs for your spouse to sit while you browse. Customer service exceeds what you'd get at most legitimate watch boutiques. And they're open about what they're selling. No pretense, no claims of authenticity, just business. But here's the dark side. While Turkey tolerates domestic sales, buying and exporting these fakes can have serious legal consequences. Many countries, including Spain and the United States, have strict laws against importing counterfeit goods. Travelers caught at customs face fines, confiscation, and sometimes criminal charges. Turkish police do conduct raids. In January 2021, Istanbul's anti-smuggling crimes branch raided 3 Grand Bazaar locations, seizing 1,539 watches and 67 pairs of glasses worth $70,600. But enforcement is sporadic. Days later, business resumes. The Grand Bazaar represents something bigger than any single seizure. It's a symbol of how normalized counterfeiting has become. In many markets around the world, fake Rolexes aren't criminal products hidden from view. They're commodities, sold alongside legitimate goods, and buyers browse them like they're shopping for groceries. Istanbul's Grand Bazaar is brazen, but it's localized. The next case shows what happens when counterfeiters scale up globally, because the incident at number 2 didn't involve hundreds of watches. It involved infrastructure, networks, and coordination that spanned continents. Number 2. The October 2025 surge. On October 28, 2025 in Louisville, Kentucky, 2 shipments from Hong Kong arrived within hours of each other. Both were flagged. When they were opened, they both contained exactly what CBP suspected: 53 counterfeit watches in total. Rolex, Richard Mille, Hublot, Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe. Not just Rolex anymore. Counterfeiters had expanded their catalog, targeting every major luxury brand. The shipments were heading to Georgia and Florida. The items' combined genuine retail value is $6.6 million. But this wasn't an isolated incident. Earlier that same month, Louisville CBP had intercepted 59 more fake Rolexes and Audemars Piguet watches. The October surge was part of a disturbing pattern. Fiscal year 2025 saw CBP seize a record 79 million counterfeit items nationwide. Watches remained among the top categories. The dual seizures in October revealed sophisticated coordination. Here's what law enforcement struggles with. Every seizure is reactive. Customs catches shipments after they've been sent. By the time CBP intercepts a package, the counterfeiters have already moved on to the next batch. It's whack-a-mole at industrial scale. And the penalties aren't severe enough to deter operations. Seized watches get destroyed. Sellers might face fines or import bans. But the masterminds behind the production and distribution networks rarely face consequences. They operate from countries where enforcement is weak or non-existent. The October surge was a symptom of a much larger disease. And that disease is thriving. The October surge exposed a relentless pipeline, but everything we've talked about, every seizure, every bust, every network, it all pales compared to number one, because this next incident isn't just the biggest fake Rolex bust in history, it's a window into an industry that generates billions annually and shows no signs of slowing down. Number one, the Taiwan pipeline. Yet again in November 2025 in Louisville, Kentucky, CBP officers intercepted a shipment from Taiwan containing 160 counterfeit Rolex date, just watches heading to Houston, Texas. The value of those watches was around $2.57 million. Why is this number one? Not because of the dollar amount, several other busts were larger. Not because of the quantity, other seizures involved more watches. This case earns the top spot because of what it represents. The Taiwan shipment came at the end of fiscal year 2025, capping a year where CBP seized 79 million counterfeit items. That's a record, more than any previous year. And yet, experts estimate CBP intercepts only a fraction of fakes entering the US, maybe 10 to 20% at best. The counterfeit watch industry alone generates between $30 to $50 billion annually worldwide. Some estimates go higher, and watches are just one category. The total counterfeit goods market is projected to hit $4.2 trillion soon. See what luxury brands aren't losing in terms of profits? Apart from this, the consumers face safety risks, and governments lose tax revenue. Yet in the middle of this, organized crime thrives. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Counterfeiting isn't just about cheap products. It funds human trafficking, drug cartels, and terrorism. Profits from fake goods flow into criminal enterprises that operate globally. Every fake Rolex sold contributes to networks that harm people far beyond disappointed watch buyers. The Taiwan shipment symbolizes the futility of the fight. Despite billions spent on enforcement, despite thousands of seizures, despite international cooperation, the counterfeit industry is winning. Production outpaces interdiction. Demand outstrips supply of genuine products. And the economics are too attractive for counterfeiters to quit. A fake Rolex costs between $50 to $200 to produce depending on quality. Sell it for $500 to $2,000 and you've made serious profit. Scale that to thousands of watches, and you're running a multi-million-dollar operation. Even with seizures, losses, and legal risks, the business remains extraordinarily lucrative. The Taiwan bust is number one because it's not an ending. It's a continuation. Tomorrow, another shipment will arrive. Another city will see hundreds of fakes intercepted, and thousands more will slip through. The threat of prison, fines, and asset forfeiture isn't stopping people from engaging in the counterfeit business. The counterfeit business is far too lucrative for those involved to stop it. Apart from the profit they gain, there is something else they benefit from. Why do people counterfeit? The economics of deception. There's more to the counterfeit business than profit. The counterfeit trade is linked to organized crime. Syndicates use fake goods to launder money, fund other illegal activities, and exploit workers in unregulated factories. Some operations involve forced labor, children working in dangerous conditions, no safety regulations, no worker protections, and the demand is insatiable. People want the status that comes with a Rolex without the price tag. They rationalize the purchase. It looks real. No one will know. I'm not hurting anyone. Except they are. Every fake purchased supports a system that harms workers, funds crime, and undermines legitimate businesses. Online marketplaces and social media make selling fakes easier than ever. Sellers create multiple accounts, use fake reviews, and disappear after transactions. Buyers have little recourse. Report the seller, they're already gone. Get a refund? Good luck. The anonymity and scale of the internet turned counterfeiting from a back alley trade into a global industry. How big is the counterfeit business? The global luxury watch market is valued at approximately $47 billion as of 2024, projected to reach $75 billion by 2032. Meanwhile, the counterfeit watch market generates an estimated $30 to $50 billion annually. Some sources claim 30% of luxury watches sold online are fake. Let that sink in. The fake market is comparable in size to the legitimate market. For every genuine Rolex sold, there might be 30 to 50 fake ones produced. The anti-counterfeit technology market, the industry built to fight fakes, is itself valued at $173.79 billion in 2024, and it is projected to hit $408.83 billion by 2032. Brands spend billions on holograms, serial numbers, RFID tags, blockchain verification, and legal action. Yet the fakes keep coming. Asia-Pacific, particularly China, accounts for the largest share of both counterfeit production and anti-counterfeit technology adoption. It's a cat-and-mouse game played at industrial scale, and Istanbul is quite important to this game. Istanbul's role? The gateway. We talked about Istanbul earlier, but its role deserves deeper examination. Turkey isn't just a marketplace, it's a gateway. Geographically positioned between Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, Istanbul serves as a transit hub for counterfeit goods moving west. Fakes produced in China and Southeast Asia often pass through Turkey before entering European markets. The Grand Bazaar is the visible face of this trade. Tourists buy fakes openly, take them home, and inadvertently become smugglers if caught at customs. But behind the bazaar, larger operations move containers of counterfeits through Turkish ports. Enforcement is complicated. Turkey's legal framework struggles with EU-level intellectual property protections. While laws exist on paper, enforcement is inconsistent. Corruption, limited resources, and cultural attitudes toward counterfeiting create an environment where the trade thrives. Police raids happen, seizures are publicized, but the volume of fakes moving through Istanbul dwarfs what authorities intercept. The city's role as a counterfeit hub isn't changing anytime soon. Tactics used to sell fake Rolexes. Counterfeiters don't just produce fakes, they've mastered the art of selling them. One of the methods they use to get unsuspecting buyers to buy from them is misleading descriptions. Online listings use phrases like high-quality imitation, mirror image replica, or AAA grade to create ambiguity. They never explicitly say fake, allowing plausible deniability. These sellers are so sophisticated and they understand the power of stories. So, they craft compelling stories. Sellers craft narratives like, "My uncle worked at Rolex and smuggled this out." Estate sale finds, owner died, needs quick cash. The stories add believability. If you think that asking for documentation will prevent you from getting a fake Rolex, well, think again. There is now fabricated documentation. High-end fakes come with counterfeit certificates, warranty cards, and even fake Rolex boxes. Everything looks legitimate. There is even social proof through reviews. But the thing is, counterfeiters get fake reviews, doctored testimonials, and staged photos create trust. Sellers on platforms like Instagram and Facebook use influencer aesthetics to appear credible. But what you'll notice is that the seller, despite being on social media, tries to use anonymity tactics. They'll have multiple accounts, burner phones, and ask for cryptocurrency payments. Sellers vanish after transactions, making recourse nearly impossible. The tactics work because they exploit human psychology. People want to believe they're getting a deal. They want to trust the seller, and once they've committed emotionally, they ignore red flags. Now that you know these tactics, will you still fall for them? How to spot and avoid counterfeits. If you're buying a Rolex, especially pre-owned or through unofficial channels, here's how to protect yourself. First, check the weight. Genuine Rolexes are heavy. Made from high-quality steel, gold, or platinum, they have substantial heft. A lightweight watch is a red flag, and that is not all. Watch the watch's movement. Real Rolexes use mechanical movements with smooth, sweeping second hands. If the hand ticks audibly or jerks, it's likely quartz, a telltale sign of a fake. Another sign is where the serial and model numbers are. They should be located between the lugs or on the inner bezel. Genuine engravings are deep, clean, and precise. Fakes often have shallow, sandy-looking etchings. Now let's talk about the lens. Rolex has a Cyclops lens. The magnifying lens over the date should magnify 2.5 times. Run your finger over it, you should feel a convex bump. Flat lenses indicate fakes. Also, most Rolexes have smooth, solid casebacks with no engravings. Transparent casebacks or excessive branding are red flags. And speaking of engravings, modern Rolexes have Rolex engraved around the inner bezel, along with the serial number. The engraving should be clean and precise, and the crown logo has to be a micro-etched crown, nearly invisible but present. Fakes often lack this detail, but maybe this next sign is the most obvious sign. If the price seems too good to be true, it is. Genuine Rolexes start around $5,000 for entry models. Anything significantly below market value is suspicious. I can't stress this enough. Sometimes counterfeiters sell at the original price, so you should just buy from authorized dealers. The safest way to ensure authenticity is buying from official Rolex retailers or certified pre-owned programs. If buying pre-owned from third parties, use reputable dealers with authentication guarantees. But if you are getting a Rolex, let's say a used one, get it verified. Have it inspected by an independent watchmaker or authentication service. The cost of verification is minimal compared to the risk of buying a fake. The bottom line, a war without end. 9 cases, thousands of fake watches intercepted, criminal operations dismantled, sentences handed down, and yet the counterfeit industry thrives. For every shipment caught, dozens slip through. For every factory raided, new ones open. For every seller prosecuted, hundreds more take their place. The economics are too compelling. The demand is too strong. The enforcement is too fragmented. Rolex fights back with technology, legal action, and cooperation with law enforcement. But the brand is fighting a hydra. Cut off one head, 2 more grow back. The real solution requires attacking demand. As long as buyers want fake Rolexes, sellers will supply them. Education helps. Awareness campaigns. Stricter penalties for buyers, not just sellers. Some countries have implemented laws making it illegal to purchase counterfeits, not just sell them. But cultural attitudes are hard to change. In many markets, buying fakes is normalized, seen as clever, a victimless crime, except it's not victimless. Workers exploited in factories, organized crime funded, legitimate businesses harmed, and buyers are deceived, sometimes dangerously so. Some counterfeit watches contain toxic materials, lead-based paints, or components that cause skin reactions. The war against fake Rolexes is a war without end, and right now, the counterfeiters are winning. So what do you think? Have you ever spotted someone wearing a fake Rolex? Have you been tempted to buy one? Or maybe you've been scammed yourself? Drop your stories in the comments. We want to hear them. And if this breakdown opened your eyes to how massive the counterfeit problem really is, hit that like button and subscribe. Because the luxury world is full of deception and we're here to expose it all. Some markets will adapt, some brands will innovate. But as long as genuine Rolexes cost tens of thousands and fakes cost hundreds, the counterfeit industry will keep churning. And customs agents will keep fighting a battle they can't win. The only question is, which side are you on?